Have you ever pondered the magnitude of devastation caused by the Black Death, a catastrophic pandemic that shattered the foundations of human history? Our Odyssey takes us centuries back in time, specifically to the 14th century. In the poignant year of 1347, the Black Death first made its malevolent appearance, stamping its dread-filled imprint on the annals of human existence. The seeds of this devastating plague were sown in the barren expanses of Central Asia. This was the terrain where the plague first sprouted its devilish wings, preparing to cast a grim shadow over the world. The path it traveled was not random but strategic. It followed the Silk Road. This vibrant trade artery pulsated with traders, merchants, and explorers, making it a bustling hub of human activity. The Silk Road, veining across continents, was the plague's ticket to foreign lands. By mid-1343, the plague had reached Crimea, the gateway to Europe. From the sun-drenched shores of Crimea, the plague took a giant leap, hitching a ride on merchant ships leaving towards the mystic lands of Europe. These ships, teeming with black rats, became the plague's new home. The fleas infesting these rats were the perfect carriers of the disease, their bites spelling doom for their victims. The ships, far from being a sanctuary, mirrored the plague-ridden conditions of a dystopian world, providing the perfect breeding ground for the disease. The cramped, unsanitary conditions of these vessels served as the fertile ground for the plague to flourish. This grotesque journey of the Black Death culminated in the year 1347, a year that Europe would never forget. By then, the plague had spread its wings of terror across Europe, marking the beginning of a reign dipped in fear and dread. By the end of 1347, the Black Death had firmly established its reign of terror in Europe. The Black Death swept through Europe like a wildfire, a disaster of unparalleled scale that hit the region like a devastating meteor. It was as if a dark curtain of pestilence had descended upon the continent, transforming once bustling towns in Italy, France, Spain, and England into ghostly, desolate landscapes of death. These once thriving centers of trade, culture, and life were reduced to silent monuments of mortality, whispering stories of an era swallowed by disease. By the end of 1351, as the bells tolled mournfully, marking the passage of time, the grim specter of death had claimed an estimated 75 to 200 million lives. This horrendous death toll equated to approximately 60% of Europe's entire population, an unfathomable cataclysm that seemed to shake the very foundations of humanity. The repercussions of this mass mortality were limited to the physical realm alone. The societal implications were far-reaching, profound, and forever changing the course of human history. With a significant portion of the labor force abruptly wiped out, the economy took a nosedive, resembling a ship caught in a violent storm. The effect was immediate and catastrophic. Widespread famine soon followed, an echo of the plague's devastation, as fields remained untended and crops withered away. The once green and bountiful lands turned brown and desolate, an eerie reminder of the joy and life that once thrived therein. In the face of such despair and suffering, faith, which had been the bedrock of society, began to waver. The once solid trust in the church began to crumble under the weight of unanswered prayers. Many began to question the church, its teachings, and its powers, which seemed utterly powerless against the relentless, indifferent enemy that was the plague. This crisis of faith led to a surge of heretical movements, a wave of dissent that challenged the established religious order. The authority of the church, which had once been unquestionable, now faced an unprecedented decline. The Black Death in this way not only decimated a population, but also shook the foundations of a faith, heralding a new era. Yet, amidst the gloom, the Black Death also brought forth unexpected changes. The effects were far-reaching and shaped society in ways that no one could predict. An immediate and profound transformation was seen in the workforce. The plague decimated the population, but for those who were fortunate enough to survive, the socio-economic landscape was forever altered. Labor, once plentiful and cheap, suddenly became scarce. Surviving workers found themselves in an unanticipated bargaining position. With fewer hands to work the land, to till the fields, to craft goods, labor became invaluable. The scales of supply and demand had tipped dramatically in their favor, enabling them to ask for and receive higher wages. This seismic shift in the economic structure had far-reaching effects. For the first time in history, a new socio-economic group came into existence, what we now refer to as the middle class. These survivors saw an improvement in their living conditions, their societal status, and their purchasing power. This, in turn, led to the birth of a consumer culture, further reshaping the socio-economic landscape. All these can be traced back to the aftermath of the plague, a disaster that paradoxically also served as a catalyst for societal evolution. Moreover, the plague served as a trigger for advancements in medicine. It challenged existing norms and practices, forcing individuals to question, investigate, and explore. Traditional beliefs and practices were upended, and the foundations were laid for a more empirical, scientific approach to understanding and controlling diseases. Researchers of the time, grappling with the seemingly unstoppable plague, conceived the concept of quarantine. This was a revolutionary idea, isolating the sick to prevent the spread of disease. Nearly 7 centuries later, this practice is still an essential tool in our fight against infectious diseases. The concept of quarantine was introduced during this time, a practice still used today to control the spread of diseases. To recap, the Black Death, which began its deadly march in 1347, not only brought unparalleled devastation but also instigated significant societal, cultural, and economic transformations. This deadly pandemic, marked as one of history's most catastrophic events, utterly reshaped Europe's demographic and economic landscape. It became a catalyst for major shifts in the societal fabric of the Middle Ages, reshuffling the status quo. The Black Death also weakened the once unassailable authority of the Church. People, disillusioned by the Church's inability to shield them from the plague's wrath, started questioning its power and credibility. This laid the seeds of skepticism and rationalism, crucial for the later intellectual movement known as the Renaissance. Moreover, the cataclysmic event of the Black Death led to advancements in medicine. The desperate need for remedies fueled a surge in medical knowledge and practices. These advancements didn't just offer immediate solutions, but also formed the foundation for modern medical science, defining our understanding of diseases and their treatment. This exploration of the Black Death serves as a potent reminder of the indomitable human spirit that persists even in the face of extreme adversity. It sheds light on the inevitable change that comes from such events, emphasizing our capacity to adapt and overcome the harshest of circumstances. Indeed, history isn't just a linear sequence of events, it's a testament to the remarkable resilience and adaptability of humanity. So, as we navigate through our lives, facing various challenges, we should always remember the lessons learned from the Black Death. Change, albeit often born out of adversity, can usher in a new era of growth, innovation, and discovery. It proves, time and again, that the human spirit is truly indomitable. No matter the trials we face, we adapt, thrive, and continue to grow.